just not a military one. With this, we should reconsider knee-jerk monopoly reasoning and ask, why should there be only one form of competition in which rivalry is what imposes competitive pressure on firms? Can other forces like technology plausibly impose on firms, including firms with a dominant share of a product, a degree of uncertainty equivalent to the pressure of oligopoly competition? This book is based on the intuition that an understanding of these other channels of competitive pressure is of great importance to any public policy committed to evidence-based decision-making, and the object of this book is to supply such an understanding. In particular, it represents an attempt to provide an analytical framework that gives a full account of firm behavior under the coexistent forces of monopoly due to relaxed rivalry and oligopoly competition induced by digital technology. Our practical motivation is limited. We hope to refine the application of the tools of public policy used to promote competition in markets, that is, antitrust and economic regulation. The point is not to formulate a new Schumpeterian theory of monopoly efficiency. Instead, the point is to illuminate the heterogeneity of business organizations and strategies under coexistence of monopoly and oligopoly, and allow policymakers to separate the wheat of pre-competitive outcomes from the chaff of anti-competitive situations. This is a timely ambition. In recent years, big tech's entry into new markets like entertainment, banking, or healthcare has aroused monopoly complaints from established players. Both in the European Union, EU, and the United States, congressional institutions, antitrust agencies, and market regulators appear to be increasingly concerned. Whilst US antitrust authorities are yet to act, the European Union has adopted aggressive competition decisions against big tech. In addition, regulatory reform is on the tables of European lawmakers with proposals to limit tech firms' acquisitions of startups or mandate data sharing with competitors. The structure of this book is as follows. Chapter 1 sets the scene by describing the polarization observed in the contemporary policy conversation about big tech. In an attempt to overcome this deadlock, Chapter 2 examines the empirical validity of the Moligopoly hypothesis. That is the idea, implicit in the Slate stories, that big tech monopolies, or some of them, might be exposed to a degree of oligopoly competition across markets. On this basis, Chapter 3 reconsiders the economics of big tech and finds that models of increasing returns to adoption, network effects, and uncertainty provide a better explanatory framework than the textbook monopoly model. Chapter 4 then formulates a concrete theory of oligopoly competition in which big tech firms compete by a process of indirect entry. Chapter 5 draws the consequences of this analysis. Sound antitrust policy requires to limit big tech's monopoly rents in markets that have tipped and only oppose carefully defined legal restrictions to big tech oligopoly competition in untipped markets. Chapter 6 then considers policy options for novel harms like privacy, fake news, or hate speech in digital markets, suggesting that some sort of regulation, not competition enforcement, is the appropriate tool. The questions discussed in this book are of interest to economists and lawyers, theorists and practitioners in the United States, the European Union, and beyond. To accommodate readership diversity, we have kept the focus on substantive issues of law, economics, and policy, and avoided issues of procedure and institutional design. For the same reasons, we do not discuss big tech's alleged monopsony power in labor markets due to major regulatory differences across and within the United States and the European Union. Some words about methodology. This book covers the 6 following tech firms: Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and Netflix. We did not select them. The European and North American press did by lumping them in 2 acronyms that connote their gang power, namely GAFAM and FANGs. For convenience of exposition, we refer to them as big tech or the tech giants. These are figurative terms. As will be clear later, the arguments made in this book do not apply equally to the 6 tech firms covered in this book, even less so to the wide diversity of firms active in digital industries. For obvious informational constraints, we do not discuss Chinese tech giants like Alibaba, Baidu, Tencent, or Xiaomi, though the analysis might be applicable to them as well. In this book, we rely in as much as possible on empirical